Good day, class. Welcome to today's session of the class. Subject teacher, Miss Erin Doris, Civic Education for Senior Secondary School 1 under week 6. Topic: Agencies responsible for protection of human rights. By the end of this lesson, we are expected to be able to state or identify the agencies that are responsible for the protection of human rights. Now, you say here, content development agencies responsible for protection of human rights. Human rights organizations are NGOs, that's NGOs, and non-profits making bodies, which are established by individuals or group of people in order to promote and protect human rights issues from abuse by governments or private persons. You can also say that these human rights, they are very important as they have helped helpless people, that they have helped countless people or have drawn the attention of the nation or the world at large to different human rights issues. Now we look at the following agencies that are responsible in the protection of human rights issues, which are: 1. We have United Nations Human Rights, that is the UNO. We have the Amnesty International. We have the Human Rights Watch. We have the Unicef. We have the Committee for Defense of Human Rights. Now we look at our number 1, United Nations Human Rights. This United Nations Human Rights is an international organization whose stated aim include promoting and facilitating cooperation in international security, in economic development, social progress, human rights, civil rights, liberty and political freedom, democracy, and the achievement of lasting world peace. The United Nations was founded in the year 1945 after the Second World War that took place from 1939 to 1945 to replace the League of Nations. The aim at stopping war between countries and to provide a platform for dialogue. Said it has multi-subsidiary organization to carry out its mission. At its inception, it has 51 member states, which has grown over the years to 193 states. Its headquarters is at the International Territory, New York City. 2. We have the Amnesty International. The Amnesty International is the largest human rights NGO with over 3 million members and supporters in 160 countries around the world. The objectives of the organization is to focus on human rights by conducting research and to take actions to prevent and end grave abuses of human rights and to demand justice for those whose rights have been abused or violated. Amnesty International was founded in London in the year 1961 following the publication of the article The Forgotten Prisoners in the Observer of the 28th May 1961 by the lawyer Peter Benson. This amnesty draws attention to human rights abuses and campaign for compliance with international law standards. 3. We have the Human Rights Watch. It is a NGO that conducts research and advocacy on human rights. Its headquarters is located in New York City, and it has offices in many countries, It was found as a private American nego in 1978. They opposed violation of what is considered to be base human rights. They also advocated freedom in connection with fundamental human rights. Human Rights Watch produces research reports on violation of international human rights norms as set out by the UDHR, that is the United Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and what it prevails to be other internationally accepted human rights norms. 4. We have the Unicef. This Unicef was created by the United States, by the United Nations General Assembly on 11th December 1948 to provide emergency food and health care to children in countries that have been devastated by the Second World War. Then in 1953, the UNICEF became a permanent part of the United Nations system, and its name was shortened from the original United Nations International Children Emergency Fund. It has continued to be known by the popular acronym at UNICEF based on the previous title. Its headquarters is located at New York City. It basically provides long-term humanitarian and developmental assistance to children and mothers in developing countries. It rely on donation and contributions from government and private donors, and it has its branches in over 190 countries. 5. We have the Committee for Defense of Human Rights. Committee for Defense of Human Rights, CDHR. This CDHR was founded in the year 1989. It started as a small group of professionals, individuals, friends, and associates who felt concerned about the detention of the trade union Mr. Femi Aborishede, who was incarcerated in 1989 by the federal military government under the Osunyo State Security. That's preventive detention on degree number 2 of 1984. The group known as the Femi Aborishade Committee was formed to campaign for the release of Mr. Aborishade for custody. However, owing to the fact that many Nigerians were eventually being detained in the said degree while the campaign was on, Wisdom detected that an umbrella body should be formed to defend not only the rights of the detainees but also the fundamental human rights of all Nigerians on the permanent basis. The committee also was blazed into a full-fledged nego whose membership is open to all irrespective of political, ethnic, racial or religious background. Sixth, we have the Civil Liberty Organization. Civil Liberty Organization was founded in the year 1934. They are a cross-party, non-party membership organization at the heart of movements for fundamental rights and freedoms in the UK. They promoted values of human dignity, equal treatment, and fairness as the foundation of the democratic society. They also promote basic human rights through a combination of public campaign, parliamentary lobbying, policy analysis, and the provision of free advice and information. Seventh, last but not the least, we have National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Person. National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NEPID, as NAPTIP. This came into existence on the 26th of August 2003. The agency is the creation of trafficking persons law enforcement and administrative act 2003 in the federal government of Nigerian response to addressing the surge of trafficking in person in Nigeria and its attendant human abuses in its entire ramification. The law seeks to address trafficking in person with its associated problems by creating specific multidisciplinary crime fighting agency to address them by 1. Eradicating trafficking in person, 2. Investigation and prosecuting the traffickers that are involved. Now for evaluation, we have 1. States the agencies responsible for human rights. The agencies we just spoke of that are responsible of human rights, which is said 1. United Nations Human Rights, that is the UNHR, United Nations Human Rights. So you have the Amnesty International, you have Amnesty International. 3. You have Human Rights Watch. 4. Unicef. 5. We have the Committee for Defense of Human Rights, Committee of Defense of Human Rights, CDHR. 6. We have the Civil Liberty Organization, CLO. 7. We have the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Person, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, that is the NAPTIP, NAPTIP. And for assignments to keep us busy during our stay at home, have 1. You have to write in details what you understand on the term human rights. All we'll be discussing from the day 1 of our human rights. You have to state what you understood perfectly based on human rights. 2. You have to read on the meaning of cultism. What is cultism? Thank you for listening and see you in our next class. God bless you. Stay safe.